starting now.
Okay. I'm just going to do a quick sound check. Any echoes from anyone while I'm talking? No? Perfect. Okay. And if I hit the drum, you can hear it? Yes. Okay.
Sounds good from
Perfect.
sounds good from here.
Great. Out in the main room, it was one or the other. Anyway, I'm also going to try to change the view here so that I can see all of you in an array. Right now it's on just a featured speaker view, and I'd like to be able to see all of you. So give me a
Well,
moment.
for the recording, Krista, they want it to be speaker view for the recording purposes. I don't know if
Oh,
that choice
okay.
your choice will okay, so that people can
Hopefully,
when they're go ahead.
yeah, hopefully my changing the view would not change your view. Let me have a quick look. I'm just looking to see. I can see all of you in the participant space, but I can't. I guess I can't change the view. All I see is, well, it makes it a little harder. I think there is a put up your hand icon here if you want to ask questions somewhere. Yes? So that I
They could
know
also
someone
ask in
has.
chat, and I will try to let you know if there's a question in chat. And I will mute for now.
Okay. Bill, you're my moderator then?
I am indeed, and so
That's
proud and
wonderful.
yes, it's an honor and a privilege.
Aw, likewise. Thank you. All right, I'm going to give it one more minute or so just to make sure I have everything silenced. I see in the count there's like 34 or 35 of you here, which is awesome. Like, thank you so much for choosing to spend an hour or so with me. We often run a little bit long just because I answer questions at the back and we're running right into the dinner period. It's why I always ask to have this particular slot because then we don't have to run away immediately on the hour. We can take our time, answer questions, do some practicing, whatever, at the very end of class as well. So, but I will also try to keep the instruction just to the hour. I do wish I could see you all because I'm trying to figure out um, if you have how many of you are brand new. Raise your hand. Let's see if there's a raise your hand function. Um, all right, I can only see a handful of you at a time. I wonder if there's a way to change that. All right, well,
Maybe I could just switch that momentarily for as the co-host here as your
that
moderator. Let's just that's if
it,
that's what you want to do.
yeah,
It
it would
seems
be
like we
it would
should.
be nice to be able to
I'm
see
gonna
everyone
switch.
for just a second.
I'm gonna switch for a moment to gallery. Okay.
Okay, thank you. And then we'll switch back. But it gives me an idea who's in the room and how much experience you've got, and who's holding drums or not holding drums, and what kinds of tippers people have, etc., etc. So, because I now see I have 35 of you in the room, yay! Thank you so much for coming. I see someone petting a cat, Greg Parker. That's a very interesting Bodhran you're holding. When you pat the cat, does the cat meow in time? Well, I'm still seeing it on my end as just speaker and other people. Bill, I am seeing you, not them, and not
Interesting.
myself.
I see the whole gallery. I see the whole
Hmm.
gallery.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's on my end, that view. Let me see if I can do something here, and then we'll get started if I can't. I'm just trying to see how I can see everybody. An octagonal hand drum will work fine. I saw something pop up on the bottom, which was a comment, but I'm probably not going to be able to see most of the comments. So, Bill Cope, who
That
is,
one says I don't. That pardon me. That one says I don't have a bodhran, only an octagonal hand drum.
that will work. Anything that you can hit today will work. So, well, I wish I had some way to see you all, but because Bill, all I see right now is you, not me or not them. So,
Well, that doesn't
as long
sound
as the
good. So
rest
I'm
of
gonna
you
go
can
back.
see me, can you all see all the way down to the bottom of the drum? Ish. Okay. All right. The only people I can see up top right now are Greg, Mike Sharp, and Annette Hill, and a couple of blanks. So, if you have a question as we go along, it's Bill is going to be our moderator. So either raise your hand and he can unmute you for a minute so that I can hear you, or put it in the chat so that we can, see it, and he can read it out to me so that I can, you know.
Krista, on
Oh,
the
hello.
inset,
Hi, Tony. I saw you for a split second, and then you disappeared.
on the inset, there are 9 dots.
Yes.
Click those.
9 dots?
On the little inset in the upper right-hand corner.
I don't have that at the moment.
You don't have the inset?
Nope. Oh, hang on. Ha ha! Hello, everybody. I love you. Now I can see you. Yay, I feel better. It's so nice to see all of your faces. And a lovely, good selection of drums. I see a selection of drums. As I said very belatedly, even if you don't have a drum, I see a cardboard box. That's going to work too. Anything that you can strike that is a certain size. Yeah, I see a whole variety of wonderful drums. That's just something for, and I love the octagonal drum, by the way. That looks really interesting. Yeah. All right. So, okay, now that I can see you, raise your hand if you have been playing for more than a year. Okay, there's one or two of you. For you, this is going to be a repeat because I'm going to start the rest of them off with the basics, but it never hurts to practice the basics, right? To clean up all the things you've learned. And if any of you were here before, this will look very familiar and sound very familiar because this is what I do for the beginning class at in-person Lark and also here for virtual Lark. So I recognize a couple of the faces online. Thank you for coming back, even though you were here before. And for all the rest of you, so if whatever, raise your dominant hand, right? And the drum itself, I want you to, if you are sitting, which you all look like you're sitting, I want you to put it on the leg opposite your dominant hand, so your non-dominant side on your knee, and then roll it back towards yourself until it meets your shoulder and your chest wall, so that it's sort of socketed nicely underneath your body, right? That is where you should be holding on to the drum. And depending on the size of your drum, it may come up high or it may be very low. If you have a very small one, you might not even be able to socket it under your arm. But that's sort of neutral for holding onto your drum. You may, over time, learn to move it forward and backwards very slightly, but this is where your drum will rest, on your non-dominant leg, away from your dominant hand, and with your other arm, I want you to use this part of your forearm, sort of, I'll use the word grab, but I don't want you to be really muscular. I want you to lay it across the edge of your drum and put your hand into your drum until you contact the skin, right? And that hold, where you are holding onto the drum firmly enough, it's up against your rib cage just enough that if you push on the head of the drum, it does not rock a lot. It should not be doing this when you push on it. If when you push on it, it moves that much, your grip is a little too loose and you need to roll it a little bit farther back against your rib cage and hold it a little bit more firmly with your forearm. So that grip, so to speak, is how you stabilize the drum under your arm and keep it available. And that left hand, we are ultimately going to learn to use on the back side of the drum, both for an unmuted pitch, a muted pitch, sounds different, or pitching the drum, using tones in the drum to make your drum sing to you. So, now that you have it under your arm, everybody brought something to hit the drum with, yes? Hold up whatever it is you brought with you. Okay, I see a whole variety of tippers. I see one or two spoons, actual spoons. That's great. I see a couple of, the one with the big padded thing on the end, you're not going to use the padded end to strike it. You'll use the other end to strike the drum for now, okay? All the rest of them look great. So, hold that level in front of you with sort of two fingers, but I'm gonna walk up next to the camera and hopefully it'll sound right and look right. Okay. So what you want is to find sort of the middle of it and let one end drop down towards your knees. And then hold it the way you would kind of hold a pencil. And that, I know that's different for everybody, but I want you to hold it so that you have it on this part of your finger, and you're gripping it with the other part of the finger and your thumb. So you're making a little tri-point contact. There's two fingers holding it, and it rests across this part of your finger so that if you're holding this firmly, you can shake your hand and the stick won't fly out of it, right? So it's kind of a, and we all look like we all might be old enough to understand it if I say, when you shake it like a thermometer, you used to shake a thermometer, you would give a little extra thrust to the down shake on an old mercury thermometer, right? I say that sometimes to kids and there's just a blank look. But with us, we're all a little bit older. That makes sense, right? When you are playing to your drum, I want your movement to be easy, but there's that slight little extra flick at the bottom of your stroke that gives a little extra thrust to, and gravity helps you with that, okay? So I know I asked you to sort of hold it right in the middle, but I actually want it to be very slightly longer toward the down side of your stick. So there's slightly more stick down than there is stick up. Not a lot, but just enough. I see a raised hand from Lewis Smith. Did you have a question? Or are you still responding to an earlier question? Lewis? No? Okay, well, we'll keep going.
You asked us to raise hand, and
yes.
it didn't go away.
Still up. Okay. No worries. I'm not sure how hold on. I think I can. Okay. All right. But if you do have a question, raise your hand or ask Bill in the chat for some help. Okay, so now that you have your grip on your tipper and you have your drum underneath, I'm going to teach you 4 basic strokes. Obviously, when you play the drum, there is a down stroke, right? So I just want you to hit the drum down. Looks kind of like this, right? And when I hold the stick, it's not vertical, it's not totally horizontal, it's kind of at about a 45-degree angle, and it is not pointing at the drum like this. It is sort of, I'm not quite sure what angle to call that, but it is, the bottom end of the stick is closer to the drum than it is, the top end is, but you are not pointing the stick this way, okay? So it should be a fairly comfortable, you're making a bunch of little triangles out of your body, the drum, and the stick. So if you can find that and then bring the stick down quickly and firmly and cleanly, if you are doing it right, you won't hear a scratch. If you hear the scratch, I need you to just give it one good thump down. And I'm not muting this drum at all right now, but I'm going to put my hand on the back and mute it for a second and hit it again. So it should be a very clean downstroke. It looks right on all of you. Anyone having difficulty with that? It looks right. Okay. Yes. Okay. In order to make drum patterns, you also need to come up. So this one you have to work harder on. This one, gravity helps you by taking it down. To go on an upstroke, that's your downstroke, down. Your upstroke is like a little flick. You're going to turn your wrist a little bit. So you'll notice I'm not moving my arm a lot. I'm just giving a little flick to my wrist. And again, you want it to be clean when it hits the drum. It's going to probably sound a little scratchy at first, but you'll want to clean that up, right? Now, I'm over-exaggerating the flick because I'm not letting you move your arm very much, but when you put those two things together, down, up, down, up, down, up, it should be very relaxed. It looks pretty relaxed on most of you. Now make sure that what you are hitting the drum with on the upstroke is not the top end of the stick. It's the bottom end of the stick, because I see one person who's hitting it with the top end on the way up. Bottom of the stick, bottom of the stick, bottom of the stick, bottom of the stick. Right? Looks pretty good out there. Yes. Yes. Okay. So that's your downstroke, your upstroke. I'm also going to ask you, sometimes you'll hear me say, I want a tap or a pop. They are the same stroke, but it all depends on how much muscle and force you put behind it. So I want you to hold your stick sort of parallel to the floor and perpendicular to the drum, and I just want you to tap the drum quickly. Just a little tap. tap. It goes directly sideways. Tap, 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 right? So it goes tap, tap, tap. And the difference when you look at them, there's a downstroke, upstroke, tap. Downstroke, upstroke, tap. Downstroke, upstroke, tap. Looks right. So to emphasize that tap, to make it sound very different, I am momentarily closing my hand on the drum skin up here where I'm tapping. Put your hand against the back of your drum, close to the top rim, so that it's on the skin, and then tap where your hand is. Do you hear how different your drum sounds when you have your hand on it? It should be a very muted kind of a sound, yes? So that tap is tonally and stroke-wise very different. Now when I ask you for a pop, where your hand is, if you make a little cup out of your hand, right? It's a little cup rather than flat on the head. If you put a little cup on the back of the drum up there, and you make essentially a little hollow space right here where the cup of your hand is, and I tell you to tap with force, it sounds different. Like, if you have it muted, it's like this, and if you open it up, it's a pop. Tap, pop. Tap, pop. And what I'm doing in the back is flat against the skin, tap, cupped, pop. Tap, pop. Tap, pop. Tap, pop. It's the same stroke, but the pop has much more force, and the tap is lighter and has the mute on it. Now the reason I'm teaching you that is because those two strokes near the top of the drum are a nice dynamic alternate when you are playing something. Right? So there's different things you can do with your hand on the back of the drum to provide these little dynamics. And we're going to use the pop and the tap in some of the strokes that I will teach you today and tomorrow. So to recap, you have your drum where you're going to hold it. You've gripped it lightly with your forearm, and you've put your hand up against your drum head somewhere. Doesn't really matter where, depends on the size of your drum, right? A good neutral position is up here near the top with your hand rolled off the skin, like you could kind of be holding your drum with the... Hang on, Bill, I'll get right to you. And then so that your drum is unmuted, or if you want to practice muted, you can just rock your hand onto it, and now you're playing with the head muted. Got it? And we have a downstroke, an upstroke, a tap, and a pop. Those are your 4 strokes. All right, pausing there to take any questions. Bill, you...
Yes, there's a question in chat. Do you have any tips for the hand holding the drum if it has bars on the back?
Oh, Lewis, I see your drum. You have a T-bar.
That's from Katie, actually. Katie.
Jeffrey has a... Okay, I see a variety of... All right, so yes. You'll note that I don't have any bars on mine. There is a reason why, because as a professional, I want to be able to access all the pieces of my skin easily without running into things. But most of the drums that people get either have the quarter bars, like the cross brace, and I saw some of those, or they have the sort of T-bar, or they have a single bar. Joyce, I see you have the single bar. So if you have the 4 square one, right, where it makes a T, what you want to do is think of those as 4 pizza slices. Jeffrey's holding his up if you can see Jeffrey Stork. You want to roll it so that the pizza slice, right, is towards the place where your arm is coming into the head of the drum, so that you are working your hand into that angle. And because it's not square, you don't want to hold it so that it is square vertical up and down. What you want is to have it so that you can move as readily inside the pointy end of that slice as possible, because you have room on the outside. Joyce, yes, you made a good correction. Yes, Joyce, that's I would do that with the straight bar. Those of you who have T-bars, either can keep the big open side towards yourself where your working arm is. Or if you like some people really like the fact that they can push up against the bar itself to help pitch the drum. If you like to use the bars that way, and you have one of those T-bars, then I would turn it again so that the pizza slice, your arm is in the wide part of the pizza slice, if that makes any sense. Yeah? We got everybody? Yes, Jeffrey, that looks good. Yours is small enough and your hand is big enough that that's going to be kind of hard, but yes, you have it in the right place. John, I'm looking at yours. You've got a nice single bar, looks like. Oh, you have a T-bar, yeah. So I would recommend maybe that you experiment, if you have a T-bar, you experiment with being in on the big open side, because although it might feel less secure at the beginning, because it's like, whoa, there's nothing to anchor with, it does allow maximum movement of your hand against the skin, and that is going to be important later when we work on tonality, yeah? Everybody else you all look pretty good in terms of what you're holding on to. Okay, so we have your downstroke, your upstroke, your tap stroke, and your pop. We're going to start with reels and jigs today because those are the two things you will play most when you're out with people. And then depending on how far we get with everybody, we will move on to slip jigs are probably the third most common thing you'll get in a session. And then things like polkas or hornpipes or slides. We'll figure out what people want to focus on once we get there. But today, we're going to start with reels first. And for each one of these rhythmic patterns, I am going to give you what I call the motor stroke, where every single note is sounding on the head. And then I will give you variations where you're essentially dropping out a stroke so that there's a sort of sonic space there. And this is, for example, almost everybody who picks up the drum, and I've already seen some of you doing it, I'm just going to play it. Almost all of you, when you play the Bodhran for the first time, naturally find a real motor stroke, which is just, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. But if you play that all the time in a session, everybody will hate you, not just the melody players, but the company players, everybody, because it's really dominant. And nobody I know actually plays that all the time in a session. Instead, they might drop a note here and there, or they might go. So skipping a note out of the motor stroke will give us variations on the rhythm. And so for each one of these rhythms, I'm going to give you the motor stroke so you understand the mechanics of the stroke itself, and then we'll start to drop bits of notes to give ourselves 4 different versions, and we can mix and match all those versions depending on the tune that we are listening to and trying to play to. So reels are in 4/4 time. So 4 strokes, 4 beats, quarter notes in a whole note, that kind of thing. And I am not musically trained, so if I happen to say something that contravenes musical theory, please someone throw your hand up and go, wait, that's wrong. I am AURAL, oral, an oral learner and trainer. I learned everything by listening and mimicking and getting it back. So I hope that gives all of you hope, because if I can do it, you can do it too, right? So I already saw a bunch of you doing a basic reel stroke, but let's make it formal and real. So your basic reel stroke, the motor stroke, really is just every note down, up, down, up, down, out being played. So to keep it from being totally just a thunder thing, I'm actually going to use 2 different strokes. I'm going to start with the Bodhran open, a big unmuted downstroke, and then I'm going to put my hand on the back on the skin and do all the other strokes with it closed up, right? So I will make a big note and then mute it, and I suggest if you feel like trying that, you can try that too. But the first stroke for a reel is the motor stroke, and you're all kind of doing it. It is down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now try as you are playing it. If you want to try the big down and then mute, what I'm doing is going open, close. So I'm only hitting the open note on the 1 of an 8 count. Down, up, down, up, down, up. And that gives some differentiation to the sound of it. As you're playing, what you want to focus on at the beginning, although it feels painfully slow, is making that stroke on the head clean, right? So not, if you're scratching across the face of the head, I don't know if you can hear that. If you're hearing scratchy stuff, then you need to give a little more thrust to it and focus on getting a clean contact with the head so it's not dragging across the head, all right? So down, up, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, open, muted, open, muted, and let's do a big open to finish. So that is the motor stroke for a reel. It's just every note is being sounded on the drum. Yes, Bill?
Does your inside hand touch the head on the open stroke with the thumb? Watching on a phone.
Yes. So on that teeny tiny screen, you did catch that detail. When I said this was sort of a good neutral place to keep your hand up at the top of the drum, right? Let's see if I can frame myself here. This part of my hand is kind of always up against this inner tuning ring of my drum so that the rest of it is all free. It's kind of my neutral starting position, if you will. And as I am opening the drum for the big bass note, what I'm doing is holding the drum just on that part of my thumb and not contacting the drum with the rest of my hand until I hit the upstroke, at which point my hand's in the same place, it hasn't moved. I've just opening and closing my hand from the skin, right? Does that make sense? When you're first starting, that's kind of a safe, neutral, easy home anchor place to be. Later, you'll be in many places on the drum. Like I'm in the middle of the drum doing the same thing. But when I started, I was up here at the rim because it makes it very easy for people to rock on and off the head when you first start if you want to practice your tonality. So yes, that is what I was doing. Good catch on a small screen. All right, so you have the motor stroke, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. As mentioned, that gets really not just boring very quickly, but it will annoy everybody in the session quickly. So kind of the basic real stroke, other than that, I call a double down. And there is a resource sheet in the class folder that has all these rhythms written out with little cues. So if you're a verbal learner, there are videos for each one of the rhythms I'm going to teach you. And if you are a visual learner, there are 2 ways of looking at it notation-wise. There is one sheet where I have actually tried, with a friend's help, to create actual music notes for the rhythms for you. And then there is another sheet where I have written out down, up, or D, U with like an underline for an emphasis stroke or a small letter for a not so heavy stroke, things like that. So there will be in the class resource folder a Google Drive, which I'll get Bill to copy into the chat for you, and also it's on the bulletin board for Lark. There are 3 different ways for you to practice this and look at it and absorb it after we have class, in addition to this class video, which will be taped and put somewhere for you to access it at some point, yeah? So when you look at the rhythm sheets and the class sheets, this rhythm I'm going to teach you now for the reels is called the double down, because it starts with 2 downstrokes. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. people are getting it. Down, down, up. Okay, I'm going to make one or two corrections. Lewis, it looks like your stick is floating around. It might just be a trick of the camera, but it looks like your stick is floating around so that the bottom end of the stick is pointing away from you. It needs to point more toward your chest as you're doing this. Always make sure that the bottom end of the stick is pointed at you, not away from you as you're doing this, yeah? Yeah, that looks better. Great. And then I saw it might just be a trick of the camera. There was someone else, I'm looking for you, whose stick looked very, very like perpendicular to the drum. Make sure that it is, the bottom end of the stick is kind of pointed towards your heart. It doesn't have to be directly at you, it's at the drum, but you know, the bottom end is more focused on you than it is on other places. So if we are playing down, up, motor stroke, we're going to drop a stroke and go down, 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 down. Now you'll note, because of the way the upstroke works, you're actually playing a couple of downs in a row, yeah? Is anyone having trouble with that? It looks like you're all getting it. Looks good. And I am opening the drum for those two double downs and then closing it up again. That's why you can hear them. Looks good on everybody. Okay, so that's a double down so that you don't have to play the motor stroke all the time. We're also going to do something that I'm going to call your pop reel on all the sheets. And that pop that I taught you earlier, where you are making a little cup up here and you're hitting the drum right where the sort of cup of your hand is. We're going to go. I'm just trying to make sure I don't pull my microphone out, which I just did. Hold on. I have to put that back into the drum.
Hi.
Hello.
People want to know where to find Christa Burch's materials.
Let me see if she gave them to me. I don't think she did.
She said that she does. She told people that she does, and that she. Anyway.
All right, give me a second and I will let you know. I'll find them.
Okay. If you could email it to me, then I could put it in the chat there. I need to go back.
Yeah, you go back. I'll jump in and drop it in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Two.
Cycle back and forth. Oh, hello. So let's cycle back and forth between all of those different rhythms. And if the recording for class missed that last one, there's a video for it in the class folder already that says, has this in it. And we'll repeat it now. So let's cycle through all three of those rhythms so far, which is the motor stroke, where everything is sounded, the double down, and the down pop, so that we have at least 3 real rhythms that we can pick up. Yeah? Okay. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Down, up. Down, up, 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 down, up. Down, up. And I am opening and closing my hand, right? Open for the big one. And close for the rest of them, yeah? You all look good. Make sure that you're Approach on the head is clean. You're not dragging across the head. If you are, try to clean it up. And we'll get ready to move to the double down in just a sec. Alrighty, ready to go? 5, 6, 7, 8, down, down, up. 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 Looks good out there. Down, down, up. Down, down, up. Down, down, up. Down, down, up. I am leaving the big double downs open. Down, down, up. Looks pretty good. Helen, I'm going to fix your stick. But after we get to this one, we're going to go to the pop. Down, pop. Up, 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 down, pop. Let's go back to the motor stroke. Down, pop. Up, down, down, up, down, up. Down, up, 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 down. Okay, most of you, it looks right on the screen. I'm going to make a couple of minor adjustments. Helen, your stick, I know you're holding like a spoon, it looks to me like you're flicking the end away from yourself across the front of the head, and what I actually need you to do is kind of flick it down, not out. So don't flick away from yourself this way, go straight down with it. That looks better, yep. And also make sure that it's not like this, that it's kind of, the bottom end of the stick is pointing at you a little bit, and you are flicking down. Yes, that looks better. That looks better. So try to maintain that position when you are doing these patterns, okay? And then the, let's see, that's a good fix for several of you actually. And then I saw, Bill, something went by in the chat, but I didn't get a look at it. Can you please read it for me?
Well, there's a couple things. One is you mentioned your materials, and people are wondering where they can find those. And I checked with the Lark folks, and they didn't have them. So I guess you will give it to them.
Hang on. On the yes, at the end of class here, I will physically copy it and stick it in there. I have got it on my. Let me see if I can grab that very quickly, actually, so that you've got it before we get there, in case you need to go early, as people say. Let me copy that. Where's the chat? Hold on, chat. Paste. Okay, that should get you there. But if you try to go for it, let me know.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for doing that. Now there's a person who's asked, due to the shape and size of my drum and especially the bars on the back, I can't get my hand flat on the back of the drum head.
Yes, I see that.
Sayonara, from Sayonara.
Yes, Sayonara. Okay. So I would say you have that sort of like, there's like a wider space on two sides of the drum. I would get your hand in that way as far as you can. And then at least sort of see if you can pat. You may not be able to move up and down so much, but you might be able to pat the drum just enough to get your hand against it to offer a little bit of muting, right? Like you may not be able to get it up here where I was working, but you can do the same thing. Yes, exactly. You can do the same thing right in the middle of the drum by opening and closing your hand from the drum. And because you have so much gut holding it there, you can actually use that to stabilize the drum until you're getting on and off the head, so the drum shouldn't like rock around much. Hopefully that will help you. The important part is not necessarily so much where your hand is as you open and close the drum for the big the big note and the unmuted part, the muted part. It is mostly that you are getting on and off the head wherever your hand is to let it ring or to quiet it up, right? Regardless of whether you are here in the middle of the head, right? Or up here, or even way down here at the bottom, right? It's harder for me to do this, like, whoop, hold on. Mobile chair, even at the bottom. Right? It sort of doesn't matter where you are as long as where you're striking is open and then muted with the hand on the back, yeah? It will matter when you want to try for pitch later. Your particular drum will not be as easy for you to pitch with as, like, when I say pitch, I mean going. When I do that, for all of you who want to experiment with that, I am picking one place to hit the drum, which is, if you think of the drum as like this is 3 and 6, I am hitting it kind of down where 4 would be for that. And what I'm doing is I'm putting my hand against the back of the drum and pushing. You might be able to see that my hand is making, that my hand is like actually making a flex in the drum. My screen keeps freezing. Hopefully it's not freezing on your end. Anyway, what you want to do is hit the drum in the same place all the time. But what you're doing is moving the palm of your hand, this part of your hand, pushing into the head of the drum toward that place on the drum where you're hitting it. So I am hitting the drum down here, sort of, each time, and I'm starting here and pushing towards that space and coming away from it, and what happens is you get pitch. Right? That's a more advanced technique, but if you want to experiment with that, your motor rhythm you can just play a motor rhythm and work with pitch to make it different, right? Or you can do your double down. Pitch is what will make your playing. Being able to pitch is what will make your drum sing. Because you are all playing a talking drum. It just doesn't get played that way very often in the sessions. The best players use a mixture of rhythm, space, and tones off the head, and triplets, which we'll teach tomorrow, to add flair to the rhythm and to make it sound more musical and to speak to the tune, what the tune calls for, right? So that's where you're going. But today we have already your real motor rhythm, your double down real rhythm, and your pop real rhythm. And then I'm also going to give you one that I call a Quebecois rhythm, because it sounds a little bit like when they do the feet with the 3 pattern. And that way you'll have 4 different real rhythms, and I'll play some music on the screen, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it, and we can practice to an actual tune, so we can cycle through the things that we're playing to match the tune. And then we'll start in on jigs. It's already 4:45, so I'll give you a basic jig rhythm, and you can do both those. You can practice your reels tonight and practice your jig tonight, and hopefully if you can come back tomorrow, we'll start in with the jigs and keep going, because it took a little bit longer than I thought to get through reels. So the Quebecois rhythm, we'll just do it very quickly and we'll practice it more tomorrow, and then we'll move right on to jigs. The Quebecois rhythm is down, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down. And I know at this speed it does not sound like the Quebecois rhythm that they play with their feet. But when you do it fast, right, it starts to sound like what they are doing with their feet when they're playing with the fiddle. So it is down, down, up, down, down, up, most of you have got it. Looks right. Let's speed it up a little bit. Down, up, down, 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 down, up, down. And a one, and a one, and a one, and a one. I see something in the chat. Hang on. The double down. Oh, we'll come back down to that. Let me come back around to that. So that's your Quebecois rhythm, right? So you have your motor rhythm, your double down, you have your pop, and you have your Quebecois. So I'm not going to make any of you play that fast, but if you cycle through them, it's like this. Right? So that's where you're going as you learn each of these rhythms, is to be able to play all of those different kinds of reel strokes depending on what the tune asks for, right? So I'm going to do a show of hands because we've got about 10 minutes left. Do you want to practice all those reel strokes now against music?
Krista?
Yes?
Sorry, one more. Can you angle your camera to get less face and more drum?
Yes.
And the other thing was I get a scratchy sound from hand friction on the drum head as I move it. Is that normal?
Oh, you mean back here? Yes. Can you hear my hand? Right? It is making noise. There's a microphone back here that should be picking it up. That sound is just skin contact to skin contact. The longer you play your drum, the softer that will get. The reason mine is so loud is because I went to a music camp on the East Coast and it was so soggy that as I was trying to play my drum, all of the accumulated dirt, skin cells, and oil that had built up on the back of the drum, like sheared away from the drum, and I basically have a naked head on the back again, which is where you're at. So yes, it's fine to hear that. It will get softer as you play it in, and you drag a bunch of oil and dirt and skin cells from your hand onto the drum. It'll get a little build up. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't try to clean it off, and it will make that slightly less scratchy on the back. On the front, you don't really want to have scratchy. You want to be clean. You'll start maybe a little scratchy, but your job as you practice is to clean it up, right?
The other question that's been asked a couple of times is how long will the materials be available?
Oh, they'll be there all year. They are there. I leave that folder open all year. I update it after the in-person Lark if I discover that there was either a mistake in the materials or we teach something new. And so you'll see some files there from like 2021, 22, 23, 24. There's a bunch of, as I go along, I update things, but they're always there and always available to you. So you'll be able to get back to it whenever you know, if life gets in the way and you don't feel like practicing for a while or you can't practice for a while or whatever, it will be there for you as you go through the year. So since we're right up, who wants to do a basic jig or who wants to practice the reels with music? I'm going to say first, hold up your hand if you want to do the reels with music. I only see like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, hold up your hand if you want to have a jig. Okay, it's about even. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's practice what we just learned with some music, because I think that's a good closure for this. And then if you have an extra 10 minutes to stay behind, I will start the jigs, so you have at least like a basic jig rhythm to walk away with if you can't come back tomorrow. And then tomorrow we'll do a quick review of the reels, but we'll start in with the jigs and add like slip jigs or something when we get there, yeah? Bill, I see you waving. What?
Yes, one more question that just came in. Is the tap normally on the up or down stroke? Which part of the drum?
The tap and the pop are not actually really like a down or an up. They're literally kind of in a cross, a straight across. And they are, I tend to do them in the upper part of the drum. So where the downstroke and the upstroke can happen anywhere across the face of the drum, I do mostly tend to do the tap and the pop strokes near the top of the drum, because I'm usually either rebounding from a big stroke and it's easy to like come straight at the drum up there, or I'm on an upstroke and I want to hit a tap after that, so I already have the drum, like the tippers, already way up here. So I tend to do the tap and the pop up here towards the sort of top eighth of the drum, if you will. Does that answer the question? Looks like, yeah, okay. All right, I'm going to try to put on, we'll hope that this works. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to put on a little bit of music in the class resource sheet. A young man named Ben Hockenberry, don't know if anyone's run across him before, as a pandemic practice, literally went to one of the major tune collections. I'm trying to remember which one it was, and he played through the top 20 most played Irish reels, Irish jigs, Irish slip jigs. He basically made a video of himself playing at a very slow-ish or moderate tempo through all these different tunes on the banjo, so that if you want to practice with him, and he plays with a metronome in the background, which is good, so that it's a good practice resource. So I listed his the YouTube pages for those in the class session, and I'm going to play, let's do the gravel walk from Ben at a sort of a slow-ish tempo. Hold on, I'm working backwards here because my mouse is in the other hand on the other side. I'm just trying to turn my volume up in here, and hopefully you'll be able to hear him when I play this for you. Let's start it and see if we can hear him. No, he is playing and I do not hear any sound coming out of my own computer. Hold on. Just a sec. Okay, hold on. That's probably not going to be loud enough to hear, though, when we start playing, right? Something has changed in my audio setup because of all the trouble that we had at the beginning of the... Hold on. Here we go. Can you hear it? All right, I'm going to start him over again. Hold on. We'll get to Ben, and I'm going to start him at the top. So that's a good slow tempo. So we're going to start there, and we'll play along with him, and we'll cycle through each of our rhythms. Did I get him started? Yes. All right, he's going to start playing the gravel walk, and we're going to play along with him. 2, 3. We'll do the motor stroke first. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. hold on. I don't usually stop in the middle of tunes, but we're already up against. I want to have a chance for questions before we hit the end of the actual hour, in case anyone actually needs to leave at the end of the hour. Questions from anyone so far? It looked good on the screen. John, I see you going like, wait. So,
Time is the session tomorrow.
the class tomorrow is at 4:00. Same time, same bat time, same bat channel, as we used to say.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Questions from anyone else? Laura, I see you've got your hand up. Yeah?
Yes, please. I read somewhere, or somebody told me other than you, that in a session, you're almost never playing rhythmically. You're always playing some sort of an ostinato, and you're changing it up all the time. Like you're never pulsing like a snare drum would be with a band. Do you agree with that? Or is that a little simplistic?
So I don't actually know what ostinato means, but I'm going to assume it means playing with the time and the tempo, like playing across bar lines, putting some swing in, doing some other stuff, and not just keeping the downbeat.
Yeah, like you're repeating a pattern, and I've heard you do it before, but then sometimes like in a B section of a jig or something, you change the pattern up, and you'll keep that pattern for the rest of the B section.
Yes.
And
so to answer that question, I don't fully agree with it, but yes, it is mostly accurate, because you will note even just now, as I listened to the tune going by, I would pick one of our rhythms that I thought fit better against one of the sections than another rhythm did. I'm trying to match my pattern, or my emphasis in my pattern, to the part of the tune itself, so that it picks out like spiky bits in the tune or flowy bits in the tune, so that I match it. So in that respect, if I find something that works for that part of a tune, yes, I will repeat that, but the tune changes, and or the player throws in a different ornament or does a variation, and so if I catch that on the fly as it's going by, will shift to it with whatever I can think of at the top of my head. And essentially, although I don't think in patterns, you are learning patterns now, which become kind of like Legos. You can stack them together in whatever way fits the thing you're hearing going by, right? So there will be lots of little chunks, syllables, that when you put together become words, which when you put them together become phrases, which eventually hopefully become poetry with the rhythm player. So that's kind of the way I approach using some of the tunes. So like I had you play the motor stroke to get started, and also it fit that part of the A part of the tune fairly well. But there was a section where he goes bum 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 dee da da dee 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 dee, and I thought, well, we'll use the pop stroke there. Bum 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 dum da dee 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 dum bum bum bum. I didn't catch all of them because I'm doing that particular pattern with you. But then there was a part where he dropped into bum ba da dee 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 dum da dee, and I was like, well, let's try the Quebecois gallop right there. And I realized, it's going to be a little faster than we did it. But you all kept up with it, right? And it fit that part of the tune fairly well. So that's what you want to start to cultivate, is an ear for the music of the melody and how you can support it. Because as a drum player, you should not be dominating the conversation. And it's always a conversation. You should be either working to match what the rhythm players already in the ring are doing, if there are people like guitar players or bouzouki players who aren't playing the melody, they're playing accompaniment, so that you are both presenting, all three of you, whatever, are presenting sort of a united rhythmic underlift to the tunes. Or if it's just you and one or two players, listening to what they are doing with their own rhythm and pulse in the tune that you can match with your drum. So sometimes, I think the part that I didn't agree with is, there are times when I will become just a rhythm machine for a little while, because they're doing something. Whatever the tune is calling for, I might decide to just be a metronome for a little while. Hold the melody. Hold down the beat for a little while they're playing. Because they're doing something really notey and interesting. and me getting in the way of that is not going to help. Sometimes you are the only person who can hold together a very big session where there's tempus dividus on opposite sides of the ends of the table, and then it is really important for you to be the one. I'm overemphasizing, but you know what I mean? Like, to give them, here's the heartbeat in the middle of those two ends of the table. So it all depends on the moment and who you're playing with and what their preferences about the drum in sessions are. Answer the
So,
question?
Krista, I don't see any reason that we can't go over a few minutes. I mean, there's an hour break now, so I think that we're very lucky in that regard. There
Yes.
was a Mike who raised his hand, and then also Deanne said some time ago, is the pop on the first or second beat? And I don't know which one of your patterns that was referring to. So,
Yeah.
Deanne, perhaps you should unmute and make and clarify that. And of course,
Yes.
Mike raised his hand. So let's just
Okay.
keep going. And if I get in trouble for that, I'm fine with it. Okay?
I've never gotten in trouble
We're
for
going
it
over.
before, Mike. If you need to leave, though, and you need dinner, I totally understand. Feel free to sneak out whenever you want to sneak out, but I'll keep answering questions for as long as you guys want to hang around and ask questions. So it is why I
Cool.
ask for the 4 o'clock slot, so I can do it. But also, Bill, I want to respect your time as a moderator, too. So if it
I'm good.
becomes a
I'm
point
good
where
till
you don't want to
midnight. I'm
report,
good till midnight. Okay.
okay. So those 2 questions. Let's take the raised hand who's been waiting a long time. Where are you now? I'm looking on my screen.
Well, I think Deanne asked the question first, and that was about
Oh,
probably
okay.
10 minutes ago. Is the pop on
Okay.
one or two?
Deanne, the
Oh,
pop.
she can't unmute. Let me find her.
It's on the
Bit.
2. It is on the 2. 1, 2. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh,
1,
delete.
2. It is on the 2.
So
Yes.
the reason I asked that question is because the gentleman that runs our sessions is very adamant about the one.
The
Hit
1.
On the one, not the two, the one. So that's why I was
Yes.
just curious about that.
So your double down is going to be on your 1 always, but it also has a 2. So this is why you have multiple rhythms too, like the Quebecois gallop. And a 1, and a 1, and a 1, and a 1. There are multiple ways to meet the demand for the 1, but I posit that if the tune lends itself to you striking somewhere other than the 1 occasionally, you can walk back and forth between 2 patterns so that you make the big 1 at the top of the head of the A, right? Or the top of the head of the A2 or something. And then you play with the musicality in between the A1 and the A2 starts, unless that throws off the melody players in the session, in which case always dial back down to a simpler rhythm that meets the 1 so that they're not getting confused.
So it's not a standard session rule that always has to be 1. This is kind of more specific to our session group.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say, I mean, generally speaking, if people have been playing for a long time, they can feel where the 1 is, not only because they're melody players and they know where the tune starts and stops, like where's the 1, but also because people who've been playing for a while generally have like an internal metronome. That said, I have found different players can feel it more or less strongly, and they might need your assistance to make sure they always know where the head of the tune is, right? You know, in terms of the pulse, the beat. Some people just prefer something that never changes because it doesn't throw them off, if that makes sense. So, I mean, marking the big 1 at the top of a tune, the big 1 at the top of the B, like the top of the A and the top of the B, is never a bad thing to do because it's like, here we are, starting, off we go, moving distance through time. Leaning on the 1 every single time is going to get pretty heavy pretty fast, though, so I encourage people to play with it. Yeah?
Still,
Yeah.
still looking to Deanne. Are your questions answered, Deanne? We should move on to
Yes.
Mike Sharp, and also Helen has a question.
Mike?
Help. Go ahead, Mike.
You don't actually need to move on to me. We can skip over me. The only reason I raised my hand was to hope that Krista would see that you were trying to get her attention.
Hold on. I need to turn you up. You're very, very light. I'm going to turn my whole speaker up for a second. Say
Really?
that again, Mike?
I can lean in then. No, the only reason I raised my hand was because I didn't know if it would pop up on your screen, Krista, and then maybe you would see Will. who is trying very hard to get your attention. So
Oh, okay. Will,
Oh,
where
thank
are
you.
you?
Thank you, Mike.
Thank
And so then to
you.
move on to Helen's question, Helen has a question to clarify. Are you holding with the stick between the first and second or the second and third fingers?
So some of that is going to be personal preference, but because everyone's hand is a little bit different. So, and also depending on how hard you're playing. Like when I'm playing with my band and we are playing really, really hard and I need a lot of force, I literally take the stick and I sock it into the soft tissue where my thumb and my hand meet, and then I put the other part of the stick on that third finger. Let's see if that will show. Third finger, right? So that between here and the third finger is my, like, I can shake my wrist really, really, really loosely and hard, and that stick is not going anywhere because between that grip and that anchor point, I have, like, lots of stability. When I had you hold it a little lighter earlier, I didn't have you put it in here, although I find that to be fairly secure. I had you hold it out this way because for a lot of people, right in front of this knuckle is more comfortable for them, and they hold it more like they hold a pencil. So in that case, there is, that third finger is still, for me anyway, always my anchor point. It's like home. The stick is always on that third finger, regardless of where else I have moved it inside my hand, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to, my screen keeps freezing, so I'm hoping it's not freezing on your end. But you will find...
No, that helps.
Huh?
That helps, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And it's, some of it will be like what kind of a stick you're holding. Some people have the sticks with the big ends and a swell in the middle, and so where you are on either side of the swell might affect how you want to hold it. Some people, I saw someone playing earlier who had a very, what I'll call like a very like carry stick grip from the carry, some of the carry players used to do this. They hold it between two fingers and they just kind of rock it, let it rock back and forth. It works. You can do a lot of the same things we're doing, but you don't get a lot of force that way against the drum. If you're playing really quietly and that's what you're looking for, that will work. But if you ever want to make that pop with a lot of drama, it's going to be a lot harder to do, right? So part of it is the volume of the session you're playing in. Part of it is how much thrust you want to be able to give to the stick against the drum head. Part of it is what feels comfortable in your physiognomy holding the stick, right? There's going to be a different approach for everybody. So it's kind of a cheat to say there's no one right answer, but there is no one right answer. Does that help?
I like that answer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good,
Yeah.
you're welcome. Bill, I see you waving.
Yes, once again. So where can people buy the CDs that you've made and also the ones that you've made with the syncopaths?
Oh, Bandcamp is answer number one because they're all out there both in physical and digital versions. If you order them there, then we can ship the physical version if that's what you're looking for. If you are into streaming, we had a little bit of a screw up with our last CD. It is not on any streaming services yet. I still have to get that fixed 2 years after we released it. But all the other CDs would be out on your major streaming services. In terms of buying it, Bandcamp is the place that we're pointing everyone to right now. I think you can still order them through Amazon, but they are ridiculously expensive through Amazon. So maybe wouldn't tell you to go that route. And the CDs are in different places on Bandcamp. There's an artist profile for me, Christa Burch, and then there's an artist profile for the Syncopaths. And my solo CD, because I've only done one by myself, and it's not even by myself because I had the most amazing accompanists ever on it. That's out under me. And then I play primarily with a wonderful band called the Syncopaths. That is all of our CDs there are under those. And then, Bandcamp. Someone just said the link isn't working. Bandcamp. Let me look. I'll have to look. Other questions about playing though, and then I'll go put this in the chat somewhere. While I'm queuing up the Bandcamp link, I will ask you guys any other questions? Bandcamp. Oops.
I have one, Krista.
Yes.
When you're getting ready to play with somebody like Marla and Rebecca,
Mm-hmm.
like you did on their album Playdate,
Mm-hmm.
is your prep to accompany them live to listen to it at home over and over and work out what you're going to do ahead of time, and then when you rehearse with them, see if they like what you came up with, or do you
Yeah.
have another method?
No, that is one. I don't necessarily plan exactly what I'm going to play. I listen to the recordings to see what the baseline for what they're doing musically is. Do they have specific breaks in the tune? Do they chain it together with a long phrase? Do they turn a corner with some kind of syncopation? Like, I want to get in front of that if they're going to play it that way live, which sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. And I come up with a couple of ideas. But then I have them ready to go when I get to them. Or like I saw Amelia was here earlier too, and hello, wave your hand again. I got the great pleasure of playing on Amelia's CDs too, and depending on who is available to support the concert that you're going to, the arrangements might change a little bit, right? So it gives you ideas about what might work for the recorded version, but it always changes when you get into the live place. And then also on the night, you might find that they do something a little different and you answer it a little more differently. But yeah, I mean, generally I listen to the recording first because I know what I recorded when I was there with them, but things change through the editing process sometimes. You never know which take they're going to use, or if they changed the arrangement around something sparkly that somebody did. So A, it's like, oh, what was the final version? B, did anything change between the last time I heard it and now? Did they make a change to the breaks? Did they pull me in and put me back out again? And then when we sit down to rehearse for the first time, which sometimes is just before we hit the stage and sometimes is as we're sitting down on the stage, you have a bunch of ideas in your head. But then always, whether you're sitting in a session with the other players or whether you are getting ready to do an actual performance on a stage, big ears, what's happening right now and what does it need from me? What is it asking for? What are they asking for? Is it big? Is it small? Does it change? Did somebody down the far end of the line, did the guitar player just shift to a new rhythm I've never heard him do before? Can I find it, match it, support it? I heard it, and note for playing with singers too, less is more. Like the jewel is the voice on the stage, and the rest of us are this beautiful setting we put it into, right? So you could say the same thing about the tunes too. Our job as the rhythm support is to hold the floor for everybody that they're bouncing up and down off of and moving around on, and lift up the best parts of it without getting in the way. So it sounds like you're already doing things like that, because the way you phrased it sounds like that's one of your approaches, yeah?
Well, I've been trying to do that when I play with groups. I play the bass, and I very much try and do that on the bass, and that's really not that different than what you're doing. It's kind of, to me, the same ideas, trying to stay out of the way yet be the keeper of the pulse.
Yes. And the reason I started showing all of you the big open note and then the muted parts is because, like a bass, I'm trying to give emphasis to the wider part of the pulse of a rhythm, not every single one, right. But like, here's the thing, now we're arcing towards the next landing, and then when I want to make it more dramatic, then maybe we go, here's every landing in between. Oh, now we're going the big long arc, right? If you already play something like a bass, the way Laura does, or something that functions that way in your band, if you're a piano player and you're used to holding down like a bass line on your left hand even, for example, bring that knowledge to your drum, because your drum essentially, because most of the instruments you're playing with are very trebly, very high, unless you're playing with like an accordion player who has good bass notes, you are actually sonically even a bass inside the arrangement of all of the instruments that are moving, which gives you more gravity and more presence, which is why the Bodhran can actually ruin things if it is over present. It would be like someone playing a really loud slap bass, on top of the tune and not being able to hear the tune properly. So use your instincts from your bass playing or your piano playing, or if you have anything that is, if you play regular guitar and you have those bass notes at the bottom which you use in walking lines and things, take those same instincts and think about how you can shape the bass notes, the open notes on your Bodhran, versus the notes that you are either pitching or holding muted, so that you can create that dynamic tension, which then gives you the pulse and the groove. Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. I look forward to hearing you play live someday.
Same here.
Bill, I see
So
you
Christa,
shaking your finger. Yes.
so Krista, folks would like to know the name of the banjo player who played slowly. Hopefully they can find it. That the
Yes.
recording's on YouTube.
Ben Hockenberry, and it's spelled just like it sounds, Hockenberry. And I'm going to copy out, I'm going to go back to the page I just had open, and find him and paste that first link for the 20 Irish Reels into, let me find the chat. Hang on, let me find the chat. Where is the chat? There is the chat. Okay. That is the 20 Irish Reels. And at the bottom, if you click on his name, you can find a whole playlist where he has 20 Irish jigs, 20 Irish polkas, 20 Irish... What he did was go to the songbooks, the collections, or I shouldn't say songbooks. He went to thesession.org and he looked at... There's some kind of ranking system there where they talk about like the 20 most played, whatever.
So you're already using ChatGPT, and that's awesome.
Ouch.
There is one little problem.
Sorry.
And he starts
I went
with
to that
number
link.
20 and works his way up to number 1. But the interesting thing is, some of the more interesting tunes are not the number 1 or number 2 or number 3. Those are the most commonly played tunes, and sometimes those are the easiest tunes because they're accessible, right? So some of the more interesting tunes to play around with are down in the 20 to 10 range, right? So, but because he plays them at a moderate tempo, on YouTube there are ways for you to adjust the speed of the playback. I slowed the playback down to about 0.7 for this particular, and I think that's written into the class notes. I'll double check that. I slowed it down a little bit so it wouldn't go too fast as we were playing up against it, right? But then once you're comfortable with it at a certain speed, you can notch it forward to a little bit faster to challenge yourself, and then notch it forward to a little bit faster to challenge yourself. And then you can find all kinds of interesting recordings on the internet to play up against. But those, I think, for beginners are kind of a valuable resource, because he also was not a super flash player. He was a beginner who was practicing at the time too. So you'll hear mistakes if you listen, but he keeps at it, and he's playing against a metronome. So although he's a little bit fluid at the edges, there is a metronome there for you too, to keep you true and honest with your playing as you follow him through his playing too. So it's kind of a good resource. And he has a wide variety of rhythms. Like there's a whole 20 slides. And slides are a lot of fun to play. And slides are not just fast jigs, right? The emphasis is on another syllable with slides, so to speak. So it's a good way to practice a bunch of different rhythms too, right? But to be able to dial in the speed that you will feel comfortable at. And then you can literally just let them play. And he goes through each tune, I think about 3 times before he moves to the next tune. So you can just kind of keep practicing your different patterns against the tune that comes up next to see, well, now how would I shift these patterns around to this tune? And then he comes up against another tune and you're like, oh, how can I shift them around for that tune? So it's kind of a good exercise tool. That's why I include him. Yay him for having done all that work. It's insane. More questions? Anyone? I don't see any hands up immediately, but I will put a pin on the whole thing by saying it's hard to tell when I'm looking at all these little tiny squares, but it looked like all of you were getting the motor reel, the double down, the pop stroke, and the Quebecois stroke for the reels. So if that's anything to judge by, jigs are going to come easily for you too, you know. It just takes time. Got to keep practicing, you know. But it looked like everyone was picking those up. So tomorrow we'll do like a very quick review of those 4 from the reel side of the house, and I'll try not to get bogged down in that for too long because I want to get us through jigs, because jigs and reels, the holy duo of Irish sessions and playing with people. And then I will ask you, maybe if you can drop in the chat, like, would you prefer to also work on slip jigs, hornpipes, polkas, or slides, like, one of those kinds of things. Slides. Yes, I can do slides too. Oh, and I see polkas and slip jigs. Slips and polkas. Okay, I actually have the chat open now. I can see it. Yeah, all right. Probably I see polkas, a bunch of polkas. And polkas are very easy, by the way. Like, I can teach you 3 rhythms for a polka, and they'll be good for you to go with. And some of them are already, all of them. Thank you, Eileen. So the other thing to know, the class, I should put the class, did I already put the class folder in the chat? If I'm not, I can put it back in there again.
I did.
There are rhythms, other rhythms that we may not get to today and tomorrow in that class resource folder that you can go and watch the video and look at the sheets and be like, oh hey, I'm gonna practice those things. So they're there in the resource. An overview of not common tunes. Yeah. Okay, we can talk about some of that. The man to talk about not common tunes would also be not common time signatures. Bill Cope, who is here being my moderator, plays all kinds of uncommon time signatures because he plays a whole nother tradition of music, which is Balkan music. I don't know if Balkan's actually the way I should describe it, but Eastern European music.
Yes, but we did it at the camp that time, that together, for the student concert or whatever that was. It was amazing.
Yes.
They were all from Bulgaria. Okay, I played
Yes.
2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 9, then 11.
Wow.
And
It was
I didn't get to
challenging.
22. I could have played 22, but
I absolutely had a blast and was so outside my comfort zone. Never played in some of those rhythms before, but it is a truism that if you break it up into 2s and 3s and you figure out where the pulse is, you can mostly manage your motoring to match that. So I think I kind of got there in the end, Bill. They were
oh,
awesome, and I really enjoyed the
excuse me.
challenge.
You nailed everyone, okay? You nailed
I don't know
everyone.
about
You were
that.
amazing.
But I had a lot of fun. And so that is another thing. Your drum, which you are learning now, yes, it is most often used in Irish music. If people are not averse to you bringing it to an old-time gig, you can play with the bass player in an old-time gig. If you want to play in a Bulgarian session or a klezmer session or something else, ask. But if you know what you're doing with your drum, like you can play your drum, you have some basic rhythms, it is really fun. And if any of you come to Lark Camp in person, this is so easy to do because there's just so much music happening. It's really fun to take your drum to another tradition and figure out how you can learn the rhythms, learn the music, support it with, because it's a talking drum. It's neutral. It's agnostic. You can play anything on it, You can even turn it flat, get actual drumsticks, and play it like a real snare. It just will sound different because it's a skin and it doesn't have the same tautness. It's a talking drum. It's a pitchable, singable drum. You can take it to any tradition where people are willing to let you experiment, and learn with it, make it sing in all those traditions. So, and it's often really good to be stretched that way. I remember feeling like I was falling flat on my face at the beginning when I was playing with Bill that one time. But also, there's something about like spontaneity and newness that lights up parts of your brain and make you do things you didn't even know. You're like, how did I do that? I don't know, but it was really cool. Can I do it again? So you'll get there. I promise you. I know it feels foreign right now because you're just patterning your muscle memory right now to do certain things. But all of you, I presume, play other instruments, listen to the music all the time, maybe are singers. All of that is already there in you. Your instinct for how to make real music, to have the conversation of music with people, will ultimately transfer itself to the drum. It just feels really alien at first. Yeah? I have faith in you. You're gonna get there, all of you.
Okay, and just maybe in closing, I don't know. As long as you want to go, I'll keep the session open too. There's a question about where to get a good instrument.
That is one of the hardest things here in America because we don't have a lot of makers left here in the States. So most of my suggestions I think I have them in the class resource sheet. Hang on, let me have a quick look. Are online sellers, but the thing with an online order is that you can't actually hear it, right? You can't play it to hear its voice, and every drum is different. Doesn't matter if they're made by the same maker. So if it is at all possible to get to a music store where they carry some Bodhrans, Lark in the Morning used to carry some. There are some folk instrument stores where they might have one or two in the shop on the wall. I really do encourage you, if you have a chance to play it. Also, when you go to sessions and you're playing with other players, if they have a drum by another maker, ask if you can swap Bodhrans for a minute, like do a drum tasting, see, oh, you're playing, very common name you hear right now, a Christian Hedwig shock. What does that sound like? Can I play that for a minute? Like, get it under your hand and, play with the pitch, play with the bass, see how it responds. How does it fit underneath you? Do you like the way it's styled in the back? If you can learn by tasting other people's drums, that'll give you an idea. Not only some makers that you might like, then you could go to their online shop, right, and say, "Oh, I'd like to get one from you," but also things you don't like or don't work for you. And that's as much knowledge for ordering as not. Depending on what level you're willing to spend for a drum, like, not gonna lie, the professional drums these days are about $500 a drum, $350, $450, $500 for a drum. A little lower in the price spectrum, and reliable, but not as supple in its voicing. Online there's a company called Roosbeck, Roosbeck, I think is how that's spelled. I have to look at my notes. I have heard, I'd say 80% of the drums I've heard that have come out of them have been pretty decent starter drums. The other thing you want to think about before you find a drum, also Walton makes some good drums, and they're a US maker for beginners. But you also want to think about, like, how long is your torso? How long are your arms? How deep can you reach in? How much manual flexibility do you have? Like, I can't make stop signs with my hands. That's as far back as I can pull my hand. So I need a slightly bigger drum to be able to get in and work with the skin. Some people play like 12-inch drums, and I can't get in and flatten my hand against a skin that's in a drum that small. So a 12-inch is too small for me. A 14-inch diameter is not too bad. This is a 15. It turns out to be the perfect diameter for my body type. Some of you were playing 16s and some were clearly playing 18-inch diameters, because the bigger drums, if you're a long tall man or a long tall woman and you have a very long torso, an 18-inch might work for you, but it's probably going to overpower someone who's 5'1" to 5'4", right? So you need to think about your frame and physiognomy and the size of the drum. And you want to get something that will fit in just underneath your armpit, if at all possible. So whatever that stretch from the top of your thigh when you're sitting down to just under your armpit is, if that's about 15 or 16 inches, that's the diameter you're probably looking for, as a general rule. There's always an exception to the rule. Depth also. A really deep drum has a really big bass note, but it's a lot harder to get in. So anything deeper than about 4.5 or 5 inches looks really cool, but is maybe harder to work with unless it has a cutout on the shell. And the cutout allows you access to the head, but it means you will always have the drum in one position. You won't be able to roll it around at all, so you will always be playing in one place on the head, and that will break the head only at one place. It makes it not as versatile if you can't shift it around a lot, which is another reason why you find most professional players don't have cross braces, so we can literally roll the drum around and play in different places. You can see I have a pretty even wear pattern But even with me, because I have an anchor point for my microphone at one point in the drum, if I don't remember to move that around from time to time, I get more of a wear pattern in one part than I do in another part. You can kind of see it. Well, it's hard to see, but so think about size and depth, and look at the offerings online, and ask other players as you encounter them if you can try their drum on for a little bit to see how it feels and sounds, if you like the tone of it. Ask them how long they've owned it and how much they've played it in, because the head changes over time. The more you play it, the more it breaks in, the softer its tone gets. This drum is so old. I've played it so hard with my band for so long. It has a beautiful sustained bass. It goes on that long, which is why I love this drum. But I have beaten the crap out of it so much, so long, that all the fibers in the head are broken down, and it is so much harder to get that crisp top pop out. On a brand new head, that top pop sounds like a bullet. Pow! Right? I have to work much harder front and back to make a pop, because the skin has gotten very soft through the 20 plus years that I've owned this lovely drum. But that said, this is my voice, this drum. I'm starting to look for another drum as well, and it's challenging to find something that does all the things you want. So if you can play it, so you can hear it and know that you like it, that is a boon. If you have to buy blind and you don't know, send an email that says, I think this might work, the dimensions look right. If you have one that has a head that has a good bass note and is not too papery or tinny, or whatever the combination of descriptive adjectives you can give to them for what you're looking for your drum. If you want it to be really hot and tight because you're going to play with a big Irish punk band or something, that's a different kind of a head, the Albert Alfonso kinds of heads with a brass tuning ring in the back. Then I'm a singer and I want to, I want to accompany myself while I'm singing, so I want a softer, woofier sound, and the wooden tuning ring is a little bit softer, and this drum head, which was a Malian goat at the time, always had a sort of a nice bass and not too overpowering of a top note. So anything you can describe to them so they can look at the selection they have, tap them, play them, and send you the thing they think is closest to what you're looking for would be helpful, right? So it is a hard thing in the States to come up with a great drum, because we don't have that many native manufacturers anymore. Yeah, Bill.
There's a question about, is it standard that only one Bodhran player in a session, say a total of 6 other instruments? What's the...
So again, there is no one-size-fits-all answer. Some of it depends on your session. Generally speaking, it is polite and musically nice to only have one Bodhran player at a time, because the other rhythm players in the circle, guitar players, bouzouki players, chafi, accordion players, whatever it is, even chopping fiddle players if they're doing something like that, you want to be able to make all of that meld, and unless you have two very good Bodhran players who are listening to each other as well as all of that to make sure that they're not emphasizing different things in the rhythm, because I talked about listening to the music and the melody and trying to match it, right, with what you're doing. That means you're going to be shifting things around. You might choose to emphasize the bass now and then an off note somewhere else. Someone else may hear that differently, so unless the two of you kind of make an agreement like, oh, you're going to play the bass notes and I'll be you'll be the boom, I'll be the check kind of thing, like you take the bass notes and I'll take the high notes or something, so that you're playing in a complementary way. It might be better, it often is better to have one at a time, but I also recognize there's only so many tunes in a night, and if you have 5 Bodhran players turn up and going around, you're maybe only going to play 3 times in a night if you only do one at a time. The other option is to mute your drum, right? Put your hand in the back, take the bell out of it, hit your drum very quietly, play along in the background so you can learn and practice. You know in your head where those bass notes would be, even though you're not voicing them, but it gives you a chance to be able to practice the tunes so you can practice playing along with whatever is coming your way, catch, but not competing with someone else. So there are some sessions that are welcome, like they're quite welcoming of having two different Bodhran players. They tend, weirdly, to seat them on opposite sides of the ring, which doesn't help for like syncing up, but maybe puts them in different sonic spaces. But generally, I don't know if it's a rule, but it's kind of an etiquette thing to give each person a chance to say to have their conversation with the musicians, around the ring, without having to match you and think too much about it. So, yeah.
Tony Becker has just said there's an exception. Go on YouTube and search for Carol of the Bodhrans.
Oh, thank you, Tony. He is referring to a specific moment in my performing life where I had the great pleasure of doing a Christmas tour with a band that sadly is no longer touring together, Molly's Revenge. Some of the individual members are still out playing. And Amelia, are you still here, Amelia? Yes. Amelia is still doing the Christmas shows with John Weed, the fiddle player. But what Tony is referring to is that David Brewer, who was the piper, whistle player, Bodhran player for them all the way through the year, they brought me on as a special guest during the winter season to sing and to play the Bodhran. And David and I did sort of a dueling and complementary Bodhran thing to the Carol of the Bells as a sort of a featurette in the middle of that winter show. And so I think there must be, Tony says there's one up there, so there must be a version of it somewhere where you can go watch us play.
I have several of the shows they're in full length on my YouTube channel.
Oh, great! I'll have to go back, and that'd be a nice memory to revisit. Actually, it was such a joy to spend my Christmases with them. I think probably my best Christmas ever with them was my last full Christmas with them, which was like 2017, because we also had dancers. There's a whole nother thing to playing to accompany dancers, right? You want to leave their feet the feature, but you also want to hold down the one or hold down the pulse for everybody, because there's a bit of that was a lot of fun. So yeah, and Amelia, I think you're playing the Bodhran with them too, right? In addition to singing, so she is experiencing this finding things on the fly. Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of that. Carol of the Bells is an intentional playing together. But I was answering from the session side of the house. Yeah, Bill.
Is your instrument tunable, and is it important that one be able to tune the instrument?
So mine is. I saw a good number that looked like they might also have been, and I would tell you that if you can get a tunable, I would tell you to get a tunable. They are more expensive. However, the skin on your drum is very responsive to humidity or the lack thereof. And every drum has a different range of comfort for where the humidity is sitting. Generally speaking, the wetter it is outside, the more relaxed your skin becomes. And if you can't tune it up, like put a little more tension on it, if it's a super soggy day, your drum may become like really flubby and unplayable. The reverse is also true. If you travel to the desert to play, which we have done with my band, and it is suddenly super dry, and your drum goes, it's very tight and very tinny, and you want to bring the note down, you can spray water into the back of the drum, like, with a little mister, but you're going to have to keep doing it constantly. Whereas if you have a tunable, you can back off some of the tension on the head and bring the whole head down some. Right, so that it's just a little bit, you loosen it a little bit against all of that dryness. So having a tunable is ideal, but it does mean that you will be buying a more expensive drum because there's just more physics and mechanics and build and etc. But if you either don't want to or can't afford to or can't find one that is tunable, a good rule of thumb, if you are moving in and out of very different climates, like you're playing in the Central Valley of California and then you go to San Francisco for sessions and then you come back to the Central Valley, or you tour into the desert or you go visit a friend in Arizona and you come back again, if you're going to be crossing wide variations, or even just you're going through a really rainy period and then you're going back, it is easier to add moisture than it is to extract moisture. And so a good sort of like keep with you kit would include, make sure you put it in something that will not leak, but like a very small mister bottle with water that you can keep refilling, that you could sort of mist the back with to take the tension down if it's too tight. If you have it and it is too loose, it's not going to change it a lot, but if you spend some time building up a little bit of friction heat with your hand, you can temporarily tighten it a little bit, but as soon as you take your hand off and you start playing it, it's going to loosen again. Some friends have traveled with a portable heating pad that you can put the head down on, and that warmth can sometimes evaporate moisture in the head and tighten it up a little bit, but you need an electric source then for the heating pad to keep it on. I have done this both at camps and in other places, but I would tell you to be really careful with this. If you have access to an open flame, like a campfire and or a stove that has you can hold your head over the heat source far up away from the heat source, just putting it in a stream of warm air, essentially, right? But don't do it for very long because it changes really, really fast. And if you are not careful, it will change so fast that you can split the head. You can actually break the skin, right? But that is another emergency tighten up before you hit the stage, for example.
I've seen splitting happen on boron heads going to dry climates too.
Hello.
The non-tunable, or ones that were tunable but were left too tight.
Yes. Hi, Beth. It's so nice to hear you and see you.
It's a treat to learn more about boron from my.
I know they're amazing drums. But yes, Beth's point is legit. Hang on, hold on. Don't move. I'm going to answer another question, but something you can also do while you're storing the drum. I found the people who make for humidors where people store their cigars make these little packs that essentially hold the humidity as steady as possible inside your drum. So this one is pegged at 49% humidity. That means if it is wetter outside, it will try to absorb as much moisture as it can to keep the drum at 49%. And if it is super dry, it will outgas as much moisture as it can to try to keep the environment inside my drum case at a consistent humidity. There might be some other companies that do this, but this is what I have been using since I got back from that camp on the East Coast where it was so wet. My drum literally became utterly unplayable, and I was worried about killing it by playing it and all that dampness. So something like this, which is a stabilizer for humidity. It started, I note that they started as doing this for humidors where high-end cigars are sold, but now there's a whole section of their website about various kinds of musical instruments because they have recognized there is a market for this for musicians. Something like that, in the same way that you put humidifiers in your guitar case, can also help with the drum if you're in a really dry place. Tony, yeah.
Before I'd hold my $600 tunable boron over a campfire, I would check the motel room to see if there's a hairdryer.
Yes, absolutely. The
A
only
motel
problem
hairdryer.
yes.
Or-
The only problem with them is they make a lot of noise when you turn them on. So if you're backstage before you go on a stage, right, it'll be a temporary fix. You'll have to keep running out to do it, and the audience will hear it. In a session around a campfire, you may not have a plug for a hairdryer. But yes, basically you're looking for any stream of warm air that you can get to the head, inside, outside, so that you can try to get the head to expel some of the humidity that's inside of it. But it's a very temporary thing, right? So that is why a tunable is just overall for being able to adjust to the environmental conditions better. It just costs more. So it's I always tell people if you can get a tunable, do, but I recognize that it makes it more expensive. So
Do
So
you
you've talked.
have a recommendation about the tuning mechanism itself?
So there are multiple ways. I saw someone in the class. I don't see anyone on right now, but she had a drum that had, like the old snare drums, it had the metal on the outside that holds. Ah, there we go, Cynthia. Yes. So that's one mechanism, right? It's an external to the drum shell way of tensioning the head, and you can, in theory, with a key, tighten each one of those around the edge of the drum. From the outside of the drum to keep the head tight. It's a carryover from probably snare drum technology. I don't actually know. Drum kit technology. Most of the Bodhrans carry the tuning mechanism on the inside nowadays. They used to be more like that, Cynthia, and now I think they've kind of moved to the inside. Some of them have little pegs you can turn yourself. They have thumb screws on them. Mine happens to be an older model. Like I said, she's built for me in 2002 or something like that. So mine has an Allen wrench, right? That goes into each one of these pegs. You put it in, flange it around, tighten up, push down. And so with mine, I don't know if this will show up or not. There are 6 tuning pegs around the head. 6. They usually come in 3s, 3, 6, 9. Sometimes you see them in 4s. The triangle of the 6s, a triangle and a triangle, is pretty stable for a circle like this. 4 is a little harder to keep the tension even. Yeah, Bill.
Are you going for, when you say you've talked about tunable a lot, and it's wonderful. Are you tuning to a pitch or just to a tone, a sound? And what's the best material? What's the best
Close as
material
I
for
can
the head to
get
be
to
made
it.
of? Sorry.
So they do come. They're made out of a lot of different skins. Traditionally, it's a goat. This is a goat, but I also have played Lambeg skins. Like they took the old Lambeg drums from the Orange Order in Northern Ireland, and they cut those big drums apart and made a couple of Bodhran heads out of them. That is a calf skin, I believe, of some, maybe not calf. It might actually be cow. I don't remember, but the Lambeg drums. I've played some Lambeg skins. I was a guinea pig for a maker he still makes drums under the name. It looks like Metlof or Metloof. It's Metloef. It's not actually his name at all. It was a joke about the fact that Irish names are sometimes hard to pronounce and they look weird. So he made these meatloaf, whatever drums. Rob Forkner is his name, and he still makes really marvelous drums. When he first started making, I was a guinea pig for him. And so he would send me all these drums because his best friend was a flute player in one of my old bands. And he would send me all these drums to try on, and I played fish skin, I played emu, I played ostrich, I played kangaroo, I played elk, I played just about everything for Rob, and it was really interesting to learn the pros and the cons of them. But traditionally it's a goat because goat is a very good compromise between durability and flexibility. The thinner the skin, the more flexible it is, the more tones you can get out of it, but the more susceptible to the humidity and also more fragile it can be if you're beating it with sticks that can break it. A harder, thicker skin will last forever, but you can't pitch it as easily, right? So you're looking for a compromise between the right thickness and the right flexibility to get a good voicing drum, and they're all a little different, which is why I encouraged you to try to go play one if you can before you buy it, because that's how you'll hear what you've got and you'll feel what its tonal possibilities are when you're playing on it.
So we're coming down to about 9 minutes before the next session needs to start.
Oh,
But so
geez.
is there a pitch that you tune to? And there's also a question about when tuning, does it matter what order you have to what order you tune in? So that should be our
So
last two
most
questions, so that we can
Okay,
finish
yeah.
before the next session.
Because I know that there's a singing session tonight. Amelia, where are you? Yep, Amelia is leading our song. Thank you, by the way, Amelia. I ended up working this weekend, and I don't even know. I might have to go work right after this, but I'm going to try to come to the song session. Amelia is leading a song session right after this. But what I will say to that question, those two questions, is a lot, not all, but a lot of Irish music goes around in D, G, or A, as does old time music, as does, like, that's just, these are the open strings on the fiddle, which makes it, those are common tones, right? Your drum is gonna sit comfortably in particular tones or pitches, and if you can get it, if it sits, I have a really great drum that I don't carry on the road with me because it likes to sit in F, or close to F. It's very comfortable, not too tight, not too loose, voice as well, in F, which makes it less useful for playing in sessions. What I do with mine is I try to pitch it, I listen to the tune on the back, and I try to get that tone, pitch, as close to D-ish as I can, because that works very well with lots of different Irish tones and tunes. Or with a different one, with a different drum that I have, it likes to sit close to G, and that works fairly well. A would be ideal, though, because, like, open strings on a fiddle, A. But they're all a little bit different, right? And you want it, I cannot make it exactly D, but I can make it D-ish. And the reason you see tape on the head is because that all the drums that you hear around the world have, like, different tones in the drum, and the edge of the drum creates these microtones when you hit it that are not always in tune with the main tone. And in some musical traditions, that's very desirable, actually. Bill plays some of the upright drums, right, where you hold it and you do a bass stroke and some finger strokes and other things. Those generally aren't taped because you're looking for all the different tones across the face of the drum, and it adds, other traditions have a lot of microtonal stuff in the music, whereas we don't as much in the Irish tradition. And so this tape takes those overtones at the edge away and kind of focuses the drum towards a center tone, and that center tone is what I try to pitch towards D on this particular drum. But it is getting old and soft enough. I talked about I've worn it in a lot. It's getting old and soft enough that it lives more comfortably near E now, not D, because if I leave it in D, it's too low and too soft. So that's another reason I'm starting to look for a new drum, is because Old Faithful is running out of road. I'm going to have to change her at some point soon. So in terms of starting for tuning, the only thing I would say is it doesn't really matter where on the drum you start. Just mark where you began and try to move in triangles, right? Like tune 1, move across the head, then move across the head. That's the first triangle. Then move, like in this case, here's 1, here's 2, here's 3. Then move across the head to 4, to 5, and to 6. Almost like if you had a septagram in here, the 2 triangles for my 6. Do 1 triangle, then shift and do the next triangle. Move them a tiny bit each time you do it, because you want to try to move the whole head evenly up and down, and a big change on any one makes a difference in the tension across the head. It's not even, it's pushing harder on one side, and so it loses some of its center tone.
What kind of tape?
So this one is just plain electrical tape. Not the gaffer's tape that is fabric. You don't want that. You want something that is, I guess it's just, electrical tape. They come in different widths. They come in like 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1 inch. 1 inch, if you can find it, is really ideal for this, because then you don't have to keep going round and round and round to get across the head. But it's harder to find than 3/4 inch for whatever reason. So, yeah. But the reason we use it is because it's slightly stretchy, not super stretchy. When you go round the head, you want to stretch it just enough to get it smoothly around this round form with no like wrinkles and bumps and lumps, but not so taut that it will like pull back out of itself at some point. And this one was taped when I got it. I just saw it go by, taping when I got it. It was taped when I got it, and I have untaped and retaped it multiple times across its life. I got a different drum that came untaped, and I played it once just to see how it sounded with no tape, and I promptly sat down and put tape around it to take those microtones off. That's a personal choice. I feel slightly seasick when all the tones don't ring harmonically together. They sound dissonant to me. I would prefer in Irish music in that setting to have it all kind of work sonorously together, and so I take those microtones off. But other people might not be bothered by it, might not care to do it. It's not a necessary thing. It's just a personal preference thing.
All right, then we're 3 minutes away from finishing our time, and I think I think we would all just really we're so grateful that you share so generously and kindly your time and talent and your amazing,
you.
based on amazing experience and musicality. Your musicality is just
Aw.
it's amazing, amazing. You listen to the melody and just how that all fits together. It's always a joy to hear you play.
Thank you, and thank you all for hanging on this long. Like, that's amazing. Thanks for sticking around and asking a bunch of questions. Always happy. And if you think of other questions later, just email me. I'll stick my email in the chat. Make sure you save the chat before you go in case there's anything in there that you want to keep. And thank you all. I hope some of you, at least, will come back tomorrow. We'll work on some of the other rhythms. Yeah?
All right, I will stop the recording now.
Thank you.